Good evening, friends, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. And it's been such a great event. So many user groups have come together and throughout the world, and really happy to see the whole collaboration thing is moving on. And today is the topic for the Salesforce Connection 2009 wrap up, and we have got so many people who have lined up, and we have got great presenters. First, to introduce myself, Girish from Melbourne. So I'm part of the participant with the Salesforce Marketing Cloud Developer User Group in Melbourne, and also that the whole motto of our user group is to help people to learn, share, and mentor whatever they've learned in Marketing Cloud and make the Marketing Cloud more accessible and reachable to many people and mentoring each other. And we have been, group has been active since the last 5 years. And thanks to the founders of the group, Matt Cameron, Eliot, Harper, who are able to bring in all the thoughts together and able to bring in many people in and able to share their best practices, tips, suggestions, the leveraging on Marketing Cloud. I'd like to thank the following groups who have been participating and inviting each other group leaders to say a quick welcome on behalf of the group. One from Bangalore, B2C Marketers Group, Melbourne Marketing Cloud Developer Group, Sydney B2C Marketers Group, Zurich CHB2C Marketer Group. And the next slide, Eliot. Just wanted to give you an introduction on the event. This is the first B2C global online Trailblazer event. Announcing that the number of people who have joined today online, I'd like to thank everyone attending this online. Thanks everyone involved in helping us to share the event through various social media. And it's also that participating and social sharing support through the group events are really awesome. And I want to thank all of them for helping us doing it. And we have got lined up awesome presenters that will help us to key takeaway, who will be able to introduce them shortly. And saying that we will be having the Q&A session towards the end. And if you have any other particular questions, feel free to type in onto the Zoom chat. After the presenters have finished, we'll have a couple of general questions open for the discussion. Next slide. And I'll be introducing you to the panel today. First is Adam Balás. He is marketing automation consultant at Parks. And next presenter will be Andrei Barany, solution consultant conversion at Digital. And we have Eliot Harper, Salesforce MEP, technical architect, attribute value. Greg Gifford, DEG senior marketing cloud engineer. And unfortunately, Greg, he couldn't able to make it, but he has shared his slides with us. Then we have Guilda here, Hilaire, Salesforce Marketing Trailblazer, Senior Manager, Product Marketing, Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Then we have Shane Smyth, AI Practice Lead, Horizontal Integration. Then we have Adam Spriggs, SFMC Engineering Team Lead at DEG. I'd like to welcome all of you. And now I will hand it over to Adam Balás.
Thank you very much. So my name is Adam Balás. I work for Parks, who is a Salesforce partner in Central Europe. And I also represent the Zurich B2C Markets Group. And thank you for the opportunity to show all my impressions that I got. So actually, it was my first time at one of the big Salesforce conventions. So I had a couple of goals in mind when I went there, which was, of course, collect as much swag as possible. Then, of course, learning new things, gathering as much information as possible. And I thought, okay, by going to the workshop sessions, I might get the most out of it from a personal perspective. And yeah, since it was kind of my first time in the US, I also wanted to eat the Supersize Me menu at McDonald's because never done that before and kind of was on my bucket list for like a decade now. So if you go to the next slide, please, Elliot. So what I actually learned at Connections is that Customer 360 is the next big topic for Salesforce, that they're really focusing on it. And even though it's possible to connect different kind of tools to it, nevertheless, the cross-cloud theme is also very important for Sales Cloud. And thanks to good conversation with a partner, I also got some very valid and very good information regarding the parted connector, the V2 connector, and everything that I learned from or about the Marketing Cloud is actually, it was more or less like everything that's coming in the new June release. And my key takeaways were actually also kind of learning on the very first day. So if you have a name like I do with a special kind of letter or character in it, don't use it, because actually, even though it's written on your badge, it might just lead to some problems when they try to scan in your badge. So on my first day, I had to get back to the line and get my badge reprinted. This was the reason why I missed also a session which I really wanted to attend. And this leads, actually to my next point, which is being prepared. It's so easy to say that, but it's much harder to do it, because I actually thought I'm pretty well prepared with having all the sessions marked and getting my badge a day before and everything. And it just turned out that on Monday I missed all the sessions that I said I really have to attend due to having my badge pre-printed, getting into conversations at some booths 15 to 20 minutes before a session started. So I always stayed in these conversations longer than I expected. So I missed the session due to this. And so my key takeaway was really prepare, write down the 3 sessions or 2 sessions that you have to attend on a sheet of paper, and everything else is a nice fallback possibility or nice to have, but really just focus on the kind of sessions that you do want to attend. And like I said, it's always good opportunity to talk to as many people and then gathering as many informations and just exchange about your knowledge. And this was really good and really valuable. And what I also saw is actually Pokemon Go is still a big thing in the US. So because at the weekend before the Connections, there was a huge Pokemon Fest. So everybody was running around looking only into their cell phones and training or collecting Pokemons or whatever you do there. And I also learned that, unfortunately, McDonald's doesn't offer the Supersize Me menu any longer. So I had no chance to eat that. So with that, thank you very much. And if there are questions at the end, I'm happy to answer them.
Hey, everybody. This is Adam Spriggs. Greetings from the middle of the United States. I've been to a bunch of connection conferences, and I kind of chuckled when Adam mentioned that he missed a bunch of his sessions. I kind of stopped trying to plan my Connections schedule because I've done the same thing so many times. I've kind of really just tried to seek out folks as best I can that I've connected with over the years, and I try to see behind the scenes as much as I can. And a lot of times those discussions at the booths and things are the things where you actually learn about what's really going on with the things that are announced and the cool things that partners are doing in the platform. As previously mentioned, Customer 360 was the big thing. And I was at the keynote where they announced a lot of that. I did not follow up with any of the sessions where they did the deep dive into it, but I had some people on my team that got all the material and attended, and we've been as a partner at DG, we've been digesting some of that. But what I wanted to call out about Customer 360 is that it's not a product or a company. They're not integrating a product or company with Customer 360. This is something that they have built from the ground up, and to me, that's pretty exciting. A lot of the announcements around data have been integrations of companies that they have acquired, Salesforce has acquired over the years. This is the first time that I can remember in a long time that they've actually built something from the ground up to do this. And I kind of see Customer 360, I'm not really buying the hype right now, but I do see some really exciting things going on behind the scenes regarding the data model for Marketing Cloud. I do feel like Marketing Cloud is moving towards a new data model, and they're taking pretty subtle but concrete steps to change the way data is stored in Marketing Cloud. And I am really looking forward to the fall when they probably will announce some more of how this is actually going to play out. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of data model changes relating to consent and a lot of the legislation that's happening for privacy. And it seems like a big deal, but over the last, they've updated the data layer in Marketing Cloud. They've abstracted the data layer in Marketing Cloud. They've upgraded the database versions over the last year and a half, and I feel like this is just kind of a natural progression, this Customer 360 thing of actually rolling out a new data model for Marketing Cloud. That's what I'm really excited about related to Customer 360. The other thing, interactive content blocks. Last year, Marketing Cloud acquired, or Salesforce acquired Rebel Mail. And so I don't know if you're familiar, how familiar you guys are with Rebel Mail, but their claim to fame and their founder, who was actually walking around at Connections, which was really cool. They come up with a system for doing interactive content inside the inbox. So emails that you can interact with like a web form. And so the possibilities with Rebel Mail integration are that we'll have eventually, and I think this is going to be piloted in the fall, ways to do reviews and form submissions and automated case creation in Sales and Service Cloud, and as well as some custom form blocks that are available, will be available in Content Builder. So you'd be able to drag in a form or a review, like a review block into your emails, and then once your subscriber gets it in their inbox, they'll be able to interact with it. It'll have some fallback content, just like a lot of those technologies do, where if your email inbox doesn't support that kind of interaction, then it'll fall back to some content that's more static. The cool thing about this is that one of the product managers for this project, he said that that it's going to utilize data extensions and cloud pages. So I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to play out in the platform. secretly hoping, and I know Greg Gifford's not going to be here today, but him and I are both kind of excited about the possibility of them rolling out a public API for cloud pages. The last highlight for me from Connections was getting to meet some of a new wave of Marketing Cloud developer community folks. I got to meet some of them in person at the DEG booth, and it was great. We just stood around in a circle and nerded out on Marketing Cloud developer topics. It was really great. It was kind of one of those lose track of time things, but it was really cool to hear all of the ways that people are innovatively solving problems in Marketing Cloud. So that's it for me. Thank you very much, you guys.
Hey everyone, my name is Andre. I'm located in Toronto, Canada. So big hi for everyone. You know, it's still cool here, below 20 degrees centigrade. So that's a great thing while I watch all these weather statements from Europe. So this was my actually. Before I started, I'm a solution consultant at Salesforce partner here in Toronto. I handle all of our Marketing Cloud implementations and solutions and everything that we do over here. This was my first connections. Chicago is pretty close for us, but actually this was the first time I had the time to go over there. It was great event to go to, and I agree that, you know, although having the app with all the events and sessions, it's not that easy to get in everywhere, but especially when, you know, so many cool and smart people are around you and you just start talking with them and forget what the time is. A few things that I was excited about. Actually, I forgot to mention one on this slide, but in the Partner Connect on Monday, the Salesforce actually showed off some solution kits for their partners and customers, and I will send you guys a link to them because it was presented in the Monday. Basically, these are solution kits for basic things in Marketing Cloud and Commerce Cloud. So there's an abandoned cart solution kit, code redemption solution kit, order on behalf solution kit, and there are a few more that basically help partners and customers connect their clouds and you know, start using the tool. One of the big things again for me was Customer 360. We have, you know, clients who use different IDs in different systems. The only issue with Customer 360 that I've seen is that they say that GA is this November during Dreamforce, but it's going to be, so when I said GA, is not actually GA, general availability. This year, they're only going to connect Marketing Cloud with Commerce Cloud and not services. Those will come only next year, unfortunately. And especially the MuleSoft connector that I was mostly interested in, that comes out next year as well. Distributed marketing updates. I don't know how many of you guys use it. No, I met with the product team there, and they are super nice people. They are working on distributed marketing, you know, a lot, and that will have some cool updates as well. What was funny, most of my times actually I spent at the Marketing Cloud booth. For me, that was one of the most useful things, just hearing what other people, you know, have issues with or how they're using Marketing Cloud. That's what I always want to hear. That's why I'm the leader of the Marketing Cloud user group here in Toronto, and, you know, that's my highest. I want to always learn what people are doing. I learned that Partner Salesforce reps don't really know much about Marketing Cloud, which was great. You know, they told me about Marketing Cloud some things, and then I told them about. They told me about Pardot, and I told them about Marketing Cloud, and we had a great time actually with some Pardot reps from Salesforce. Another thing that I learned is Salesforce employees everywhere in the world don't really know that the user groups and these Trailblazer community groups exist. So whenever I told them that, hey, we have this user group, they just like, wow, why don't we send our customers there? Because, you know, it would be just so great for them to learn. Gwen Stefani still rocks. We had a concert there. It was amazing. She's just beautiful and amazing. Datorama was there, and Tableau wasn't. Obviously, it's a really recent acquisition, so they weren't there, but Datorama basically will still do all the marketing reporting and all the high-level reporting, I say, and then we will see how Tableau acquisition goes and how they are going to use it. And I just had selfies with everyone who had the golden hoodie. They are cool people who deserve those hoodies, and it was just an amazing moment meeting them all. So yeah, that's basically it from me. I will, if you guys have any questions at the end of this one. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrei. So hi, it's Elliot here. My name doesn't start with A, so yeah, well, let's get straight into it. I guess in summary that there were hundreds of sessions filled with actually quality content at Connections, and I found that that's a big difference between Connections and Dreamforce. In fact, including, I'm pleased to say, a series of AmScript workshops, which is the first time in 5 years that these types of workshops have been held. I've attended the past 6 Connections. The last one was held back in 2014 when it was in Indianapolis. So that's awesome. I'll just check. There's a message up here, and it's not someone saying I can't hear you, but you can all hear me. Someone just say yes, please. Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, I'm not just talking to myself. Matt, someone?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, good. Fantastic. Okay, good. So while there were several new announcements, and we've heard some of those already, among them were several not so new ones. And you see this in the media announcement. So there are 3 ones that surfaced. Einstein engagement frequency. Now, this was announced way back at Dreamforce 2016, 3 years ago. I know this feature has actually been GA for some time now. Send time optimization was also announced 3 years ago at Dreamforce 16 and made it into the June release notes, as you might have just picked up on. So, but it's not really a new announcement per se. And transactional messaging, that was previewed last year at Dreamforce and went GA at the start of this year. So yeah, but aside from these new announcements or lack of them, as has been said before, Salesforce's emergent CDP platform, which is the new direction for Customer 360, took center stage. And my number 1 takeaway from Connections this year was to learn more about this new announcement and recognize that CDP is actually a big thing. And so I just want to go and use my remaining 4-minute slot to explain why Salesforce are onto something and why marketers now care about this thing called CDP and why you should too. Before I do, this photo I've just surfaced here, this is of presenting to a packed room actually at one of the AmScript workshops. Okay. So I encourage you to go and check out Customer 360. I'm not going to go and give you a demo. You can go and see that yourself by replaying the keynote. But what you won't see is this. So CDP, or Customer Data Platform, has emerged almost overnight as yet another must-have that every marketing team, must have. But what exactly is a CDP thing that everyone's talking about? Well, to bring you up to speed, the CDP market's ramping up, and in 2018, the market revenue climbed to $740 million, which is up 50% from the previous year, and is estimated to exceed $1 billion in 2019, this year. And the number of CDP platforms is actually picking up pace too. Salesforce recently announced, obviously, at Connections that their Customer 360 platform will now be a CDP. Then just on the very same day, Adobe jumped in to say they're getting one too. And not to be outdone, Oracle also chimed in last Monday and bragged that they've enlisted the help of Accenture and Capgemini to help them figure out this whole CDP thing. So what is all this fuss really about, and why are marketers chasing this magical unicorn? Well, the compounding challenge that marketing teams face today is that they want to deliver connected experiences to their audience. You see, consumers now expect more than a personalized experience. Instead, they want every brand interaction to be a connected experience that matches their actions and behaviors based on in-the-moment data. For example, like perhaps immediately triggering an email based on a customer's recent website engagement or an in-store purchase. And in order to do this, you need to know exactly how they're interacting with your channels and your content. But the barriers that marketers are facing today is data, and Salesforce acknowledged this. I mean, while this data exists, it's very fragmented, and the systems that manage the data are actually built for a different era. We've got customer data residing in CRM, we've got purchase data in a point of sale system, we've got web data in another system, and so on. And these number of data sources are increasing. In 2017, the median number of data sources used by marketing organizations was 10. Then that jumped up to 12 in 2018, then 13 in 2019. And as you can see, that this is just really an uphill struggle for marketing teams. Now, some marketers enlist the help of their IT team to extract this data from these disparate data sources, while others import all this data into their digital marketing platform, like Marketing Cloud, for segmentation. But these approaches are fundamentally flawed, as firstly, complex segmentation requires SQL modeling, which calls for considerable expertise and effort, and inherently lacks flexibility. And the end result is a series of large, near-time, schema-dependent data sets that can't easily adapt without serious efforts and skills. And I've seen this time and time again in Marketing Cloud, that people go and build some elaborate, dozens of steps automations, and something changes. Maybe they're trying to import too much data, or schema changes, and the whole thing breaks, and this ends up in this very fragile state. In fact, in a recent study from Salesforce, 81% of IT leaders say that point-to-point integration has created some of the biggest headaches they've seen. So a CDP is designed with exactly these problems in mind. It integrates disparate data sources by using complex matching algorithms to unify identifiers across different data sets to create a single customer view. And then it goes on to break down the barriers of traditional segmentation approaches by offering tools that enable marketers to build complex segmentation without code, and then immediately surface insights like audience size after segmentation, showing how audiences overlap, and most importantly, provide actionable reporting. So individuals in an audience can immediately receive communication or be injected into a journey. And again, I encourage you to go and check out that Customer 360 demo for yourself, watch it online. And this is critical, as in the new marketing funnel, leads can enter at any stage. So these audiences need to be highly pliable. So in summary then, a CDP enables data integration, orchestration, segmentation, and of course, that elusive single customer view, and puts all this back right in the hands of marketers where it belongs. The end. Thank you. I hope you found that helpful. And I'll pass the gauntlet over to Girish, who's standing in for Greg.
Yes. Thanks, Eliot. It was great presentation across. Since Greg couldn't be able to join us, probably he has shared his notes with us, so I'm going to probably read it out from there. Probably Adam and Eliot can able to jump in also to share their views across, so that a few things are a bit different across here. So first thing is he's talking about Customer 360. And Greg found it to be like really a cool tool, and it's a great combination of data gathering, normalization, and analysis on top of a fairly verbose AI, which he thinks is like allowing a great learning and optimization all inside in a single spot. And then he also reckons that he has been a bit of a worry where Datarama and Tableau, both similar tools, sit next to each other, and now he sees that probably going to be a new competition across these Salesforce tool and how Salesforce is going to rebrand itself to able to market it better to the end users. And he also mentioning about the customer 360 is sitting on SFDC, Salesforce Core, and not on Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And in case if you need to implement it across on Marketing Cloud, there's going to be extra cost and implementation across for that. So this can be a bit of a hurdle for companies which are solely using Marketing Cloud.
So just to support that, and you invited me to do so, Girish, I do echo Greg's thoughts here. Just to clarify, so my understanding is Customer 360 from a linking all your Salesforce data, that bit's going to be free. But yes, of course, this what's called a Customer 360 for marketing, there will be an additional cost. And as Greg noted, this does sit outside Marketing Cloud, and that's really to overcome the limitations that with Marketing Cloud's data model. It uses a relational database that doesn't horizontally scale well. I mean, just by design, it can't be used for voluminous data or big data. I don't believe, however, that this is actually sitting in Sales Cloud. From the demos I saw, it was all running on Heroku, but yeah, I kind of don't know what they're using in the back end. Also, I do echo with, there seems to be this crossover between Datarama and other tools too. Like remember, you've got Contact Builder. In Contact Builder, you've got this notion of a contact record, and you can go and see a single customer view with all the engagement behavior and all the attributes related to that contact. And this isn't a new idea. And also that, we can obviously go and import data from external sources using Automation Studio. So there seems to be a lot of crossover from tools like Datarama and Audience Builder specifically, and Contact Builder and Automation Studio. So I think that Salesforce has some work to do on positioning there. That's my 2 cents.
Thanks, Eliot, for sharing that.
So do you want me to jump on?
Yeah, jump on the next slide, please. So here in this slide, Greg, he is trying to talk about, he has mentioned about that there's been a lot of high interest in expanding the API in Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and this is going to be a big boom for Marketing Cloud developers, I reckon, so that we can able to integrate across various channels and able to bring the data across and able to do a lot of interaction. And he was also mentioning about the majority of the movement is to a REST-oriented system. And he has been mentioning about the currently there has been a significant amount of capability of what is in SOAP already has been set up for REST, and it is not officially documented yet. So he guessed that there's a lot of maximizing the use of those endpoints, but is mostly certainly can be worth it.
Hey, this is Adam. I can expand on some of that a little bit.
Yeah.
So Greg's been doing a lot of research in the APIs recently, and noticed that there's some new ones that are undocumented that they've been rolling out, and that's kind of the reason why he's been saying that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the WS proxy fanfare has kind of reinvigorated a lot of configurations and solutions that are using script activities, and WS proxy is based on the SOAP API object model, and so it's kind of renewed a lot of interest in seeing what's possible out there. So there's a lot of folks that are researching what ways they can integrate WS proxy into the various avenues in Marketing Cloud. And so he came to Connections seeking out all that information, and it was part of a lot of discussions that we had around the booth and whatnot.
Cool, awesome. And thanks, Adam, for sharing it. It's awesome. Thank you. And also, Greg has been mentioning about the Rebel Mail, which Eliot had mentioned about. It seems like they have been mostly the API is opening up to support them. This will be very much interesting to see the dynamic content across. Also, the Adam Spriggs, he had mentioned about the Cloud API, which Greg also mentioned about it, and he reckons that fingers crossed for the Cloud API to leave from the internal, only rest to the public access. Adam, do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, so one of the things that I wish for Marketing Cloud is that that there would be parity in the APIs, so that you know, where anything you could read, you could create. And so anytime we see improvements on the API, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Is you know, there's a lot of APIs that they use internally in the pages. So like when you're logged in, you have authentication through the login. And so they use these APIs, but they're usually a lot different than the ones that are publicly available. So it's obvious that they're using new internal APIs, but whether those get promoted to be public ones is kind of one of those things where they don't really talk about it much. But WS Proxy is one of the most recent developments in that realm, along with the transactional messaging API. And it's, you know, those are the things that you, as developers, you hope get some time at Connections, but usually got to seek it out. And it's not really usually promoted because it's not sexy. It's not sexy keynote material. But but a lot of partners and a lot of people doing integrations with Marketing Cloud, there's a lot of interest in that because it allows us to build tools, and that's real important for scale and flexibility in the platform.
Probably you must be having separate connections just for Marketing Cloud developers.
That'd be the day. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if that ever happened. But we can all wish.
Thanks, Adam, for sharing. Yeah, probably that's it from Greg's side. And now I'll hand it over to Shane to take it to the next slide. Thanks, Shane.
Hey guys, good morning for everyone who's in the States. I'm based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, so it's bright and early 7:30 here right now. I work for a company called Horizontal Integration, and we have a strong Marketing Cloud and Salesforce team. I've been working on the platform for about 5 years, so glad to be here and share a little bit about what we learned at Connections. We've beaten the concept of Customer 360 into the ground, so I will just make 1 or 2 comments on this, and then we can proceed on. Like Elliot and everyone else has said, Customer 360 is Salesforce's version of a CDP, which I think is great. Over the last couple of years, CDP has been picking up pace, and it's been interesting to see how Salesforce has been kind of been in the game through other partners. They've invested in companies such as SessionM and other CDPs. So I fully anticipated them to do their normal thing and purchase a company and try to integrate it over the next 5 or 10 years. But it was a surprise and I guess a welcome surprise to see that they decided to build this one from the ground up. Let's see a comment here. Okay. So yeah, it was a surprise to see that. I actually heard a little bit differently about the connectors. I heard they were launching with service and commerce in November and marketing soon after. So I would be interested to hear what everyone else has to say during the Q&A about what they heard on that topic as well. But just wanted to put a screenshot on there about what kind of the view they have inside of Customer 360 for the people that weren't there. There were some really good demos through Party City and a couple other apps out there and companies out there that were kind of demoing the functionality of Customer 360. So I see a lot of really good segmentation abilities in the future with this that, you know, right now inside of Sales Cloud, if you're trying to use it as your, you know, Customer 360, it's kind of difficult to do. So I see a lot of benefits in that area. Next slide. So talk a little bit more about Einstein bots. This is a little bit off topic of Marketing Cloud centric, but definitely relevant to the Connections wrap up perspective, and we haven't touched much on it yet. Einstein bots is the ability to have a machine learning algorithms behind the scenes through a bot to interact with your customers. So normally companies have a live agent type of scenario where there's a person sitting in a call center who is communicating with someone on the web who is chatting through that communication. One of Salesforce's relatively new products in the last couple of years is Einstein bots, which allows you to automate some of those conversations. That's not new. What was cool to see from them and kind of a more of a hands-on demo was two things. One was the Einstein bot builder, which allows you to kind of see a better view of how you build these bots. And for those of you who have gone down this route before, it's been a little bit tedious to build over the last couple of years. It was very manual and it was very list oriented, and now you can kind of see a better view of this. On top of that, though, they also started talking more about the channels they're coming out with. So up to this point, it was mainly web chat. That was the main one they had. And with this, Connections and kind of the new releases they've had, they're adding WeChat, WhatsApp, SMS, and Facebook Messenger. So this gives the bots a lot more bite inside of their product. So they're able to kind of do the full cross-channel experience. And on top of that, they are doing this concept of how do you replace your normal contact us form. So you're going to a website and you go to the contact us form, you see the traditional form page. One of Salesforce's new blogs and kind of concept is let's get rid of the contact us page and let's instead put bots in that place, and then the user, the customer can interact with the company through whatever channel they want to, whether it be SMS or Facebook or through a live agent eventually. So I thought that was very interesting. The other tactical piece here is that they're providing bot conversations as part of the existing licenses. So up to this point, you've had to pay for them separately through a different SKU, but with this new release, they're adding it to those who already have Live Agent or Unlimited Edition inside of Sales and Service Cloud. So that was super exciting to hear, and I think they did a good job in their service demo to kind of illustrate the functionality there. So that's all I had. It was good talking with you guys today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gilda Hilaire. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager at Salesforce, and I am located in Boston, Massachusetts. So just to give you background, this is actually my 4th week working at Salesforce. And prior to joining Salesforce, I was a customer. I spent 13 years using ExactTarget, which is now Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So this was when ExactTarget was branded as the email marketing solutions tool. So I've helped a lot of large organizations with implementation, onboarding, training, education, you name it, and I've actually done it. And now in addition to that, I also write thought leadership pieces on LinkedIn to help customers maximize utilization of the Marketing Cloud. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and definitely check out the articles. I think the speakers before me did a wonderful job summarizing some of the key product features and functionalities that was announced at Connections. I think for me, something that's always been near and dear to me is education, training, right? And making sure that we are our best self. So the 3 key takeaways for me is really the evolution of Trailhead and how it's allowing us to really blaze our own trails. So whether you're new to Salesforce or a seasoned user, Trailhead has something for you. And during the keynote, we learned that Trailhead continues to evolve, and there are new marketing trails that Salesforce is continuing to roll out. And especially for those of you that are new to Salesforce Marketing Cloud, or even if you're a seasoned user, Trailhead gives you the opportunity to learn new skills and take full advantage of the platform functionality. For example, it's not just about Marketing Cloud, but the recent trails that they just announced, it really helps you around marketing best practices, subject line best practices, email design best practices, presentation skills. Trailhead presents a wealth of information that you may not have known or even thought about before. The second takeaway is that Salesforce is committed to learning, and Trailhead represents just that. And if you haven't signed up for Trailhead, you should definitely sign up. You'll see that as you progress through the trails, you build upon knowledge you attain. This ensures that you have foundational knowledge you need to move on to the next topic, or of course you can just still focus on one module if that's what you have time for. But Trailhead is all about enjoying learning the experience, and it's fun and it's interactive. And Trailhead continues to evolve, right? Salesforce is committed to that, and they keep the trails content fresh and fun. And rest assured, more new trails will continue to be added to Trailhead. And it's not just product focused, but it's really about building additional skill sets to really help you with your overall brand. I was really excited when Stephanie said at the keynote that they have a new marketing best practices trail to really help us marketers understand what are the best practices when it comes to the wonderful world of email. And then there's also a new developer marketing cloud trail. So definitely, if you haven't signed up for Trailhead, please do so right away. And please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you have any additional questions, please let me know. Thank you, everyone.
Great. Girish, are you there?
Yes.
Good. Oh dear, sorry.
Hey, Girish,
So,
sorry, Elliot,
yeah,
I might just jump in. It's Matt here. I'm just putting up a couple of questions that have sort of come up through the discussion. So feel free to start having a look at those questions just in the group chat.
Sure.
And I'll try and direct them to who I think is appropriate, but let's all just chime in and have a discussion around those questions. I think there's a couple of questions that we've got there which flow on from what we're hearing about trail, what we can do with the resources in Salesforce, and also about if there's any resources there that people can get into the platform with, so they can start to discover it freely, like they can do with Core. But I'll post these questions in there in a tick. I'll just start posting them in now. Thanks.
No, so while you're doing that, maybe I can just go ahead and answer both questions in a single breath, because they're awesome questions and hot ones too. There's some new trails that modules specifically announced and released in conjunction with a Marketing Cloud simulator. So while there are no free Marketing Cloud developer accounts, and in fact, if you do have a Marketing Cloud developer account that you would have received back in 2014 by attending Connections or Dreamforce, you may have received a recent notification that they've been revoked. They're shutting those down. The replacement is this Marketing Cloud simulator, where now anyone can go and learn Marketing Cloud. Obviously, it's a different experience. It's a highly controlled experience. You have to go on, you can only click on certain items, but it certainly enables you to go and learn Marketing Cloud without requiring any access to the platform. So it's quite early days at this stage, but I know that they've got big plans for it, and I think that we're going to see more great things from it.
Elliot, this is Guilda. I do want to say that to Elliot's point, that's one of my roles at Salesforce, is to really help ensuring that a lot of the trailheads and content that you guys see do continue to expand, and that it does continue to stay fresh and relevant.
No, thanks, Guilda.
Sure. Elliot, you mentioned that the licenses for the dev accounts, the earlier licenses, are they going to be discontinued? What's that mean?
So Adam, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah.
Because you've got access to
Yeah, I have some recent development on that. So they for a short time gave, allowed people to sign up for developer accounts in 2014. They've since sent out messages saying, hey, these are going to expire on August 1st if you don't renew them. And the renewal process was a long, arduous journey through Salesforce support and partner rep type discussions. And because the renewal process was like a Salesforce employee only renewal process kind of thing, but everybody that had those got the message. I did get mine renewed, but it feels like it's tied to me being a part of a partner as opposed to it being just a full-fledged account for development.
Oh, that's an absolute shame. Yeah.
It's the number one most requested thing of Marketing Cloud across multiple channels. So why Salesforce doesn't allow it, it kind of is understandable because it's a resource, but they just integrated it into Trailhead, so it kind of makes me question why it hasn't been a thing yet.
It's an absolute shame. I know from a Melbourne perspective, we were considering, and hearing that we won't be considering it now, but actually using a dev account so that our newer people can just get some hands on with the platform. What I'm doing at the moment is I'm recommending people just so they can get up to speed with email marketing to start using MailChimp, just so that they can have transferable skills. It's just appalling, the situation that we're in, not having devs being able to get into the platform. I've said my piece about that, but it just frustrates me no end.
But so Matt, two things. I mean, firstly, just to point out, if you're a partner and you meet the requirements, then you can get a partner account. And secondly, like I said, there is a new simulator, so you can learn Marketing Cloud without requiring access. I think this is their response. I know it's not what you're asking for. I know that they had significant support issues, that people having access to this platform then didn't know how to go and use it. So I empathize with them a bit there, but let's hope that they go and build out the simulator so it has comparable functionality to having a dev account.
Sounds good.
Any other questions?
Look, I've put a handful of questions up on the group chat, so and I can see a couple of others. Girish, do you want to lead through those?
Yes. So this question is to Andre. I just want to know, you talked about distributor marketing. Could you just tell what are the new features that you were able to see in the demo there?
Yeah, sure. So there was something that a lot of people asked them, even within the meeting, and that one was about attachments. So a lot of people, when you send out an email, a salesperson, so just really quickly, distributed marketing allows a salesperson to deploy an email from Sales Cloud using Marketing Cloud. So the marketing person sets up a marketing approved email content, and then the salesperson can add text or an image to it and just deploy the email without modifying any other approved content. And we were talking about attachments. So that was everyone's question, like, hey, we want to add any attachments to those. And they said that they get that question a lot. At the moment, there is no way of doing it, only if you hard code the attachment using mscript into the template in Marketing Cloud's end, but you cannot do it from Sales Cloud at the moment. So that was one thing that they were working on. They didn't really tell us a whole lot. They told us that there is a new content block coming out soon, but they didn't even say what that is. Right now there's the simple text, the rich text, and the image content box for content builder. But yeah, unfortunately that was it. The attachment was one that they are working on, but they didn't have time for that.
Yeah, probably recently also noticed that there has to be a SSL certificate across your Marketing Cloud instance. And that's when you can able to use the distributor marketing in Salesforce. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it throws an error if you don't have SSL certificate.
Okay, they didn't mention that. One more thing that they mentioned is they are going to up the limit of how many people that you are able to send at once from Salesforce. I think the limit now is 200 or 250 people that you can email at once. So they are going to double that, I think, in the near future.
Okay. Oh, is there a constraint like that? So I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
And there's been it has been another question by Fedda. He's asking about CNX is superior to Dreamforce for Salesforce Marketing Cloud content.
Oh yeah, that was me answering.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's okay. I would say, so here's what I understand Connections, the state of Connections right now, the conference, is that they after marketing or Salesforce acquired ExactTarget, they had a really good the Connections conference with ExactTarget was really good and very, they had developer advocates, lining up speaking engagements. The community groups were involved in it. There's a lot of good technical content. After the acquisition, Salesforce pulled it out of Indianapolis and they tried it in a bunch of different places and it really was never the same. And then the Commerce Cloud acquisition came along, and Commerce Cloud or Demandware had a great conference, according to folks that were in that circles. And Salesforce decided that they would combine the Demandware conference and Connections conference and relaunch it as Connections back in Chicago. And so the way I understand it is that they've been planning it like Marketing Cloud plus Commerce Cloud. But if you've been to one since then, it's kind of that, but it's really just a mini Dreamforce, but with an emphasis of Marketing Cloud, I would say. But there is quite a few, there were quite a few Commerce Cloud folks around. I know from our team, we had a huge contingency of those folks there. There was a lot of that kind of content too. But that's historically what I understand. Connections, the emphasis is on Marketing Cloud and Commerce Cloud.
Cool. There's been a question from Jared asking about the Customer 360 cost. Is there a hint about what can be the cost for that?
No, I don't.
A lot.
It's
going to be a lot.
I don't think it's going to be cheap.
Someone might have had a sneaky conversation.
Yeah, no, they haven't given any price indication at this stage of what that looks like at all. I suspect it will be based on a contact model as well. By the amount of contacts that you're storing seems to be aligned with other Salesforce platform. As I said, and they, this is at least they explain this to the industry analysts, that is the investor community, that again, there are two. There's the original vision of Customer 360, which is joining, creating relationships between the different models of Salesforce platforms, such as Sales Cloud and Service Cloud and Commerce Cloud. So for example, like when a customer goes and makes a purchase on Commerce Cloud, you can bind that with a contact in Marketing Cloud and inject them into a journey. I mean, you can't do that today. And they've at least indicated that there won't be a cost associated with that. That will be offered out of the box. But what they're calling, or at least in that super session I attended, of a Customer 360 for marketing, which perhaps this is a working title, is that this is the CDP piece, which is an extension on their original vision that they announced back in at Dreamforce. But yeah, no idea how much it's going to cost.
And just quickly on Customer 360, it's really interesting to see, Salesforce was being a B2B company. A few years ago, they were only focusing on B2B sales. Actually, the Customer 360 will be launched first to B2C customers between, who has Service Cloud and Commerce Cloud. and only after they launch that, they will start focusing on B2B. So that was really interesting and cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is Adam. I see a couple of API questions about the undocumented APIs. So if you're interested, you can snoop around in the developer tools in your favorite browser to see what the endpoints are for the internal REST APIs, and that will kind of inform the objects and endpoints for some of those things that are undocumented. The other thing is too that there are several describe type endpoints in both SOAP and REST that will return back what exactly is supported by the APIs in Marketing Cloud. And what we've been doing is just comparing those to the documentation to see what differences there are. And that's where you see the new things or the undocumented things. So like what properties in SOAP are retrievable or not, you can tell from doing describes on the object via SOAP, and REST has some similar functionality. You can also do some of that with WS Proxy related to SOAP. And so we're just, kind of taking an inventory to see what is actually out there. And that's kind of how, if you are into a little bit of exploring on the technical side, snooping in the developer tools and then doing describes on all the objects is a good way to try to figure stuff out like that.
Awesome. There's been a question from Pradeep Singh regarding how Tableau would be shaking hands with Marketing Cloud for the future.
Being a Tableau user and being a Datorama user, I can maybe answer that really quick. Absolutely nothing has been released about Tableau yet, so we don't know how it's going to connect. I think Datorama currently uses there's a Marketing Cloud direct connection, but it's not that great, honestly. They are working on updating it. Currently, Datorama can only access Email Studio Sense, so it's just generic, open rates, and it just connects that with all other sources like Instagram. Tableau, I think it will go down to the customer level, but again, nothing was released about Tableau. Nobody mentioned the word Tableau. Was not, spelled at Connections, I think.
Sure.
And one thing too about Tableau is that I heard, and I don't really have any first-hand experience with Tableau, but what I understand, Tableau is not a cloud-based platform. So I think whatever integration is going to happen is going to be transitioning it to the cloud, which I guess is maybe a bigger deal than just slapping
if
it
I
on.
can add on that, so it certainly didn't used to be a cloud-based platform. I know over the past 2 years they've been working very aggressively and now have a pretty comprehensive cloud-based offering. And the industry analyst told that 80% of new sales now are attributed to that. I don't know, Andre, you want to elaborate, being a Tableau user?
Yeah, so I'm still using they have a desktop application, they have a server application, but everything is a desktop app at the moment. What they have changed is the subscription model. So before that, you actually purchased a license. It was a one-time fee, and then you only paid maintenance fee if you stored your data on their servers and you weren't using your own data sources. And they transitioned that to a subscription model, so that's more aligned with Salesforce's subscriptions models for their solutions. But honestly, I don't know much about moving the solution. Similar to Power BI, which is Microsoft solution, that's a desktop tool as well. So honestly, I don't know much what they're going to do, but they will have to do something because Salesforce is a big, no software company. They will probably have to do something to move everything to the cloud.
You're right, Elliot. Is Pradeep here. So they used to have something called Tableau Desktop. It was non-cloud-based offering, but in last few years they had started offering a cloud-based Tableau as well.
Okay, thank you.
Probably if you have any more questions, we'll just take for next 2 minutes and we wrap the session. Looks like we don't have any further questions. Probably we'll wrap for the day. And yeah, this session has been quite interesting. And I'd like to thank all the presenters able to put their slides in and able to share their valuable insights that they got with us. And also like to thank all the user group who have joined us from Bangalore, Sydney, Melbourne, and Girish to this. And this session has been recorded. In case any of your friends who have missed this session, they can still able to access this session. And I'd like to thank everyone and have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Okay.
Thank you.